I'm very happy to introduce Raghad, what classes did you have with me at UAU?
I think fundamental management.
So no HR classes, because you're an HR major, so no HR classes, just fundamentals of management. Okay. And also it's worth noting that we participated in a Model United Nations, and we went to Vancouver, Canada, participating in that, and that was a lot of fun. That was genuinely fun.
Absolutely. That was definitely one of the most interesting trips that I've had in my life.
And we're both laughing for reasons that we can't go into and explain in this video. So tell us. So since you graduated from UAU, tell us your trajectory of life, and please start with your Boeing internship and move forward.
Of course. So I was very happy excited when I received the email through UAU actually for an internship opportunity where placed in Seattle, Washington State in the US for 6 months through Boeing company. I immediately applied, and needless to say, I think that the day I received the news that I got selected was definitely one of the memorable days. I literally remembered every detail when I received that phone call from the program manager that I got selected. So in July 2013, I traveled to Seattle with 2 of my colleagues. Both of them were actually UAE graduates. So it was a full batch of UAE students that got into that program that year, which was really great. I got placed to be with the program management or project management department then. Due to my degree in HR, I got placed into one of the projects related to HR, which was transforming the applicant tracking system that they were using back then, and transforming the whole recruitment process. But I was managing it from a project management along with a few other projects. And I think Boeing kind of takes project management as a religion, to be honest. They does it to the letter, they do it to the letter, and they do all the tools and processes related to it. So I got to learn a lot there. So after finishing 6 months of doing that project, along with the other activities they've enlisted for the interns, like meeting the executive leaders of that company, doing factory tours, which was super fun for anyone who's an aviation geek or enthusiast like myself. So it was really a great experience. After I got back, there was an opening in the local office for a recruitment coordinator opportunity. Again, due to my knowledge within the recruitment sphere and my degree in HR, got selected. I joined them in 2014. In April. It was a really great opportunity because I was the first person to manage that job within the region. So I got to do a lot of onboarding activities for anyone who joined within the Middle East. Then we expanded to India, expanded to Far East, and I was supporting different countries and learning about their labor laws and local requirements and all of those spheres within the onboarding kind of department. Then there was a need to kind of have someone to look after the data for talent acquisition. And since at that time, the systems and tools that we've used were kind of not speaking to each other properly, we needed to do a lot of manual work to keep track of our data and numbers. So I kind of took over the data specialist role. I established a lot of data functionalities for our teams. And after also another year and a half, I kind of reached a maturity stage for that role, where a lot of the things that were required were automated. So it didn't require a lot of, human intervention. It was just basically regular refreshes and so on. At that time, Boeing was going through a transformational process related to HR. It was a huge project that kind of took about 4 years to actually be completed, where they transformed everything related to HR, from processes to systems and the organizational structure as well. So I was kind of the liaison from a talent acquisition perspective, especially in the international sphere, to fit into that project in terms of, will the system work? What are the processes? What are the steps that we need to make? How are we going to individualize it for each of the countries that we operate in? Because I got the chance to work in so many different countries in the international sphere and understand their, limitations, or basically the specific requirements for each of the countries that we needed. So after we've launched the project and we've launched the new system and the new tools and processes, there was still also a need for someone to look after improving the processes. So I kind of took over the role of being the process specialist for talent acquisition. So for any touch point or any process that we've conducted within the international sphere, I would go in whether there was an opportunity for improvement or an issue that we faced in that particular process. I would analyze the process and then conduct a case study on how can we improve it or eliminate those issues that were faced with that particular process, and give recommendations on how to move forward basically for that. After that, I got the opportunity to join an Emirates group. I joined Emirates in January 2020, which is definitely the most interesting year to be launching a career in an airline company. So I did talent acquisition for about 2 months until we hit the lockdown phase. So after 2 months, we kind of went into lockdown. We switched to every recruitment activities got halted due to the market and everything that was happening here. So we switched to project focused. I worked on a couple of projects within talent acquisition again. For example, one of the projects I did was analyzing the system that we were using and the steps that a candidate kind of took from the point of they applied to a job until they actually joined. At that time, it had to be 96 steps. We managed to bring that down to 50, and now we're really ready to launch the new. It's not all mandatory steps. Some of them can be just kind of customized per candidate and per specific scenario that you're going through. So it was really interesting, and now we're ready to launch that new project. Again, due to the fact that we didn't have any hiring activities, a lot of our team members were sent on secondments to different teams to kind of support different activities in the business. I got the chance to go into the learning and training department, where I was helping them, again, doing a lot of data and matrix work. So I was building dashboards for them and analyzing reports and so on. And now I'm back within TA because the recruitment activities has picked up in Emirates, which we're really grateful for. So I'm back doing recruitment now. Sorry if that was too fun, but...
I'm not even sure where to start. First, I appreciate the fact that the reason I wanted to bring you into a supply chain honor society group, of course, is that working with Boeing, there is very few companies on the face of the earth that think about supply chain issues more than Boeing does, because they not only have suppliers from literally all over the globe, specifically here in Al Ain, just about 10 kilometers that way with Strata and the different suppliers that we have here, but also all around the globe. And they have to do this because they want to be able to sell to customers all around the globe, and you're more likely to buy a Boeing product if you're using products that are partly made in the UAE and so forth. So from a supply chain issue, there are very few companies that are more globally interconnected than Boeing is. And so your experience of dealing with that is why I wanted you as part of this group. And then I love the fact that you developed these things, these processes, and then the processes became automated to the point that it no longer needed a human. And so to me, when you made that comment, I thought you just committed one of the biggest errors in life, in that you automated something that you automated yourself out of a job. So first of all, I just want to address that, because the way you described, you developed these processes and you had all these things that they wanted to have measured, and so you came up with ways to have them measured, and once it became measured, it became automated, and then, do they need me anymore?
Well, I proved that I was needed. That's why I got the new job that I had. That's not, I think data and the whole automation kind of sphere, it's not about you losing jobs, it's about creating, let's say, better opportunities for people to show you more value or more efficiency or more effectiveness in how they do their job. So if you free up their time from doing those manual kind of nitty-gritty stuff, you'll be able to kind of tap into the creativeness that they have and have them build something even better or add more efficiency or effectiveness to your processes and policies. So
Oh, and trust me, I appreciate, and it's a testament to how good you were in creating that they then trusted you to then go to the next thing. So that is awesome. And I'm not somebody who believes that progress should be stopped just to keep jobs. I come from a country where in the United States I have many friends who are like, I refuse to use self-checkout because checkout people need a job. And I'm like, no, they don't. No. There are jobs that if we eliminate, the world is okay. And eliminating checker jobs, yeah, let's let those checkout people do something a little less boring in life. And yeah, so go ahead.
I think that goes for people who kind of intimidated by change.
Yeah.
Because eliminate those jobs, you're going to be kind of pushed out of the box to be thinking of ways to utilize those people's skills and abilities, because it's not the fact that we only need checkers. We will need them in other places where they can be a lot more value instead of just doing something for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I told you that my first professional job after getting my master's was managing weather offices across the Midwest, and I was literally they eliminated our jobs by the automated weather system that replaced us, and so there are some limitations, and I was able to point out the automated system doesn't work in certain icing conditions and whatever. I was able to point out these are defects with it, but I couldn't argue for a tiny airport that a full-time weather guy. I couldn't justify keeping my job, if that makes any sense. And I didn't. Yeah. So I didn't fight losing my job because I was like, realistically, the machines can do it. So, where was okay? So back to supply chain. So, any insights you have from your experience with Boeing, and then we'll transfer to Emirates because your timing of going to Emirates in January 2020, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but sticking back with Boeing. Any insights on supply chain from your working with one of the most supply chain companies on earth?
Absolutely. I think the 787 program that Boeing launched a few years ago, the Dreamliner, as it referred to, it was definitely a groundbreaking and a trailblazer program it was the first time for a company in the aviation industry to build an airplane using that methodology. We've literally sourced each and every part of that airplane from a different country, just because, first of all, we were searching for quality and efficiency. And the second thing was also to build the strategic relationships that you've referred to. But again, the strategic relationship were not the main reason. We were just trying to find the best part at the best quality at the best price. And I think that was Boeing was able to elaborately and very successfully be able to build for the 787 and be able to kind of coordinate with all of those suppliers across the entire globe and be able to have them ship those parts to a single location in the US and be able to assemble it in a very timely, calculated manner. I think what they've done there is a piece of literally amazing work. That is how to put it. That was definitely one of the most impressive things that I've seen there. And whenever you're looking at the factories and how things are arriving on time, things are not being stored for a long time, all of those things that you studied in your supply chain courses and being able to see it implemented in real world and how does it impact the lines of production and everything that is related to it and the costs and the financial aspects of the company, it was really fascinating, to be honest.
Anything else that you want to mention concerning Boeing and supply chain?
I think I can move to Emirates now and everything that is happening in terms of the vaccine and all of the great work that Sky Cargo has been able to accomplish. And I think that is 100% reliant on the supply chain and how they manage things. So Sky Cargo has been definitely one of the instrumental business units that Emirates has been holding, and definitely one of the main revenue generators in the past year, as they have proven that to be able to support the business and our existence, even though that we've reported losses for the first time in the company's history this year. But a lot of the revenue that came through our Sky Cargo and commercial revenue streams, simply because they were able to tap into that market in a very strategic way and be able to leverage all of their connections to be able to build a supply chain specifically for the vaccination campaign that has been happening. Emirates has been very proud to be able to say that they're definitely one of the main, let's say, carriers that has been transporting vaccines all over the globe and being able to manage that. We had to build an entire facility to be able to house the vaccine here in Dubai for Sky Cargo to be able to pass all the checks related to the health and ministry. The Ministry of Health checks and everything related to that, be able to build that in a very specific standards to be able to house the vaccine in a safe manner for the next shipment. I think that is also another testimony of how Emirates was able to leverage supply chain to be able to build a successful business model and revenue generating model.
And I mean, I can't even imagine the logistical nightmare because I know the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines have to be kept insanely cold.
Yes.
And so, I mean, that takes cold storage to a new level. I can't imagine because Emirates, correct me if I'm wrong, you never had any experience transporting something that cold before, right?
No, I don't think anyone had that experience before. It was definitely not at that scale. If it had happened, it's definitely not at that scale. So I remember a lot of the discussion prior to the deployment of Pfizer. There was a lot of discussions between engineering departments, our safety and health departments, our trainers, our ground operators, and ground handling departments. All of those, they had to come together to basically be able to find the best way to be able to try to do that successfully. So engineering had to chip in terms of how the facility is going to look like, what are the tools, what are the equipment that is going to be required to be able to maintain such cold degrees to keep the vaccine safe. And all the other departments had their own pieces into the puzzle to make this a successful one.
Yeah, I admire whoever is doing that work. That is incredible work. So my final question I have for you is, what would you say to somebody who's coming through UAU and considering majors? What would you say to them if in considering supply chain? And again, my graduate degree is in human resources. Your degree is in human resources. We're both HR people, but we understand the importance of supply chain. So what would you say to somebody who's considering supply chain as a major?
So even though I majored in HR, but I think both of my elective courses were in supply chain, and it's simply because I knew that this is something that is going to be crucial in the future. Everything now is being transported. A lot of governments or companies are moving out of the ordinary box of having everything built in-house and in-country and everything like that. Everyone is outsourcing and looking at the future, and everything that happened specifically at the pandemic era, we'll all realize how much we're reliant on other countries and other people, basically. So in order to be able to transport services or products or goods or anything like that, supply chain is definitely going to be the core function behind being able to operate efficiently anywhere in the world. So it is definitely.
So I lied. I have one more follow-up question then. I'm of the belief that the term globalization is going to be redefined in the next couple of years. Previously, globalization meant where can you go to get the cheapest resource and expand your markets and so forth. I think this pandemic has redefined globalization. Would you agree?
Definitely, the impacts have already started.
Okay, and that's a good point to stop recording. I like when somebody agrees with me. That's like the best time to stop recording.